Hey guys, it's Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I have a new project. I showed a sneak peek of this project on my Facebook page, and that is LM's Crafty Creations on Facebook. And when I was working on it last weekend, I worked on it all week this week and today, and it is complete, and I'm so excited to share it with you. This is an explosion box, and it measures 6 inches all the way around. And the paper collection I used was by, Stampin' Up! And it's called Playful Palette. I think it's discontinued. I think. Anyway, there's 48 sheets in this 6x6 pad, and this is literally all I have left. I mean, it's just the teeniest bit. I used it all. So, I would recommend at least, if you're going to use a 6x6 pad, what do they normally come in? Is it normally 24 sheets? I mean, you definitely at least need two to complete this, because I used, like I showed you, all 48 sheets. But that was kind of my goal anyway. I also used the coordinating cardstock, and on the top I have a knob. This is by Hobby Lobby's Spare Parts, and this one was actually in the clearance section, so I snatched it up. This flower, it kind of looks lopsided, but that's just the way it was made. It was an embroidered flower, and it started out white, and I took my acrylic paint, actually I took my distress inks, my distress sprays, and you can see my hands are still, they're getting better. They were black before. I took my distress sprays and sprayed it black, and then there was a piece in the middle here that I took off, and I just put the knob on the top with the flower, and around the box, around the lid, I did this ruffle and then added the bling onto it. And then the coordinating sides are the same, and then there's the back, and then the bottom just has plain paper, and there's the top. So let's open it up and go inside. Whoops. So this is the inside, and this is the lid. So I just put some paper in the lid, and I think it turned out really cute. So I used Rena from Scrapbook Fashionista. I used her base tutorial. And I'm going to run through the tutorial after I show you everything that's in here. I'm going to show you how to make one exactly like mine. So I've used a lot of bling and trim and just little pieces. I didn't have any kind of ephemera or anything to go with this collection, so I had to kind of wing it. And so I did more ribbon and stuff than I usually do, and I really like the way it turned out. The colors were just awesome. So in the middle here I have this little accordion fold feature, and there's what, 2 photos there, and then 4 photos on the other side, and it just kind of sits there and bobbles. I didn't want to hold it down with ribbon, so I just put it in here, and then I stuck this flower from my stash on top with a brad. And so I liked how that turned out. So let's see what else. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So this first layer is each section is 4 inches. The next layer, each section is 5 inches, and the outside layer, each section is 6 inches, which is how you can get by with using your 6x6 pads on this. So these are all the same. I just used some lace and some bling trim, and I actually have Velcro holding these down, and they all open just like this. And on the inside, it's a little accordion fold pocket. On the inside, I have booklets. So I used my scraps to decorate the front of the booklets, and then I have these appliques here that I've hot glued onto the front of each one. And they do all look different, obviously because I was using scraps. I love the Velcro, but you could definitely just use magnets here. Let's see. Here is these. So cute. Again, I love this paper. Oh, I think the box turned out so cute. I'd never made one of these before. It was such a fun thing to make. And these will hold 3x3 photos, I believe. Same as this right here. maybe a little larger. Maybe 3¼ by 3¼ is what these booklets hold, because this is 3×3. And then here's this one. And I just use the star and heart appliques. And so that's it for that section. And then when you flip it over, each one has this bling trim on it and different colored papers. So you could put a small photo right here and underneath the lace. And so what I've done is each side mirrors one another on these sides. Okay, so let's see, this thing is kind of hard to show because you're flipping everywhere. So on this layer, I have a stacked pocket. This is a 4¼ by 4¼ photo mat, and then I had these graphic 45 tags in my stash, so I just added some matching seam binding and some twine, and I liked that it was ivory. And then there's that matting, and again I just used some applique stars that I had in my stash. And I'll go ahead and go to the next section. So right here is an acetate pocket, and then inside is a little booklet, and I've just tied it together with some twine, and I used my scraps to decorate the top. And then inside you can put photos here, and it's like an actual booklet. I would have added more pages, but I didn't want it to get too thick because I didn't gusset this pocket at all. So that fits in there nicely. And the way I counted at least 85 photos that you could get in here, but I mean there may be more. This is a waterfall. You can see the trim that I've added here. This is a magnet, and then this is made for the photos for like a sprocket printer, the little 2×3 I think. So that was really cute. And then if you lift it up, inside there's a little pull tab here. You pull it out, and I've done a little pocket with a paper and added another photo mat, and on the inside you have even more places for photos. You could even do one on the back if you wanted. So, and these fit in here quite easily actually. So let's rotate it around. I'll show you the next side. This side's going to be the same basically. So there's that space. This is the acetate pocket. So now you notice that the acetate pocket was on the back on this side. It's on the front here. So I kind of rotate that around. Here is the booklet. Same deal. And then the back of it, you have the stacked pocket with the little applique and the graphic 45 tag. And I've just staggered the matting. I did some more of the pleated trim, and actually I didn't add any bling. On this one I added bling. And then there's a pocket on this side, and it's got another applique, and then I just put the paper on the inside instead of doing photo mats for this one. And here is the inside, again with the photo mat, and the inside of the booklet. Cute. And we're going to flip it again. Here I've used the star and same photo mats, and I think this actually is decorated just like the opposite side, so maybe I don't need to show you that. Yeah, these are the same as the other side I already showed you. And then this side will be the same. So these sides are alike and these sides are alike. We have the booklet, and then the tags, the trim, but I have a star on this side, so that's the only thing that's really different. The inside of the booklet might be different. And then this tag may be different. Just different papers, but everything else is the same. So I thought it was really cute, and I hope you like it. And I want to run through the tutorial really quick. It's really easy. I only made all of the little features on each flap. That's my own choosing. I chose to design my album this way. But the construction of the book itself was Rena's design. The only thing I modified was the lid. I made it just slightly larger because I thought that made it easier to get the lid back on the box. So let's run through the tutorial real quick. Okay, let's go over some supplies quick. You are going to need, I have left in the description box down below, just like I always do, but I wanted to remind my new subscribers that I always include the measurements for everything in my tutorials in the description box down below so that you can copy and paste that into whatever document you want and print it out. And so please, before you start my tutorials, go ahead and have everything cut and scored before we get started, because I'm going to run through it because I already have my stuff cut and scored. And this time, sometimes I do this, I've labeled everything ahead of time so that way I don't mess up, we hope. So you're going to need your favorite adhesive. Mine is Art Glitter Glue, a ruler, some twine if you want to make the booklets. I'm going to use my bone folder, probably a pencil, a craft knife, a paper piercer, again if you want to make the booklets like I did. I'm going to use my 1/2 inch corner rounder, scissors of course. I'm also going to be using my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board to make the notches for the pockets. I've done that some in some of my other videos. And I guess that's it. That's all I can think of. So let's talk about the base of the box. The first thing you want to start out with, let me get all this out of the way until I need it, is 4 pieces cut to 6 inches by 12 inches. You're going to score on the 12-inch side, at 6 inches, so right there in the middle. And then go ahead and fold on those score lines. Here's my bone folder, using my Ergo one today. And I'm going to go ahead and fold on all of them. What I like about this, I can't talk. The particular design of this box is that it has so many layers at the bottom that it makes it really sturdy. So we're going to open up 2 of the pages, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to glue this page on top of this one right up to the score line. Line them all up. Okay? So let's do that first. I like to do the opposite sides first. I'm going to add my glue. You know I like to squiggle. And then going to place it down. I'm going to be careful not to go over the score lines and to get everything lined up. And you can even fold everything to make sure you got it correct, okay? That's the easy part. Now flip it this way, and then we're going to glue another one right on top of this one. So you've got it folded. I'm going to add my glue on this side. I like lots of glue. And I'm going to try to center it directly in the middle. You can already see that I'm getting glue everywhere. And make sure everything is lined up all the way to the end. So you should have one box directly on top of the others. Okay, so you can see obviously our box is starting to form. And then we're going to glue the other one right on top and make sure it flips out this way. So there's our base. And then we're going to go through, we're going to make all of the bases first, and then we'll go through and add all of the extra stuff onto them. Okay. Here we go. All right. So now you have 4 layers of paper. This one kind of wants to fold in, but that will change once you add all of your scrapbook paper. So there's the base, and that is what is going to hold our lid. Okay, let's put this aside and do the other 2 bases. So now you should have 4 more pieces cut to 5 inches by 10 inches, and then you're going to score on the 10-inch side at 5 inches. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Fold them all, and we're going to add them one by one on top of one another. And that will be our next layer. Okay. So I'm going to take the first one, and so you can just see, however you want to add them, it doesn't matter. I'll just glue this one down a different way. I mean, this the same way but different. Does that make sense? Probably not. Okay, so I've added my glue, and I'll just glue it this way this time. Obviously, since it's a square, it doesn't matter. And I'm even going to turn it over, make sure I'm getting everything lined up just right. And that art glitter glue does not give you much time to do that, so you have to work quickly because it dries fast. Okay, so now we have these 2 sides. Now we'll do the next side. Again, lining it up, making sure all of our edges are directly on top of one another. And I like to turn it, so it's easier for me if I turn it. And I'm going to add this final one. And then we'll do the 4x4 box. And then our base will be built besides the lid. We'll do the lid after that. Now the edges seem really flimsy right now, but once you add all of your other paper to it, they're going to get sturdy. Okay, now put that one aside, and now we're going to do the final box, which is 4 pieces cut and scored, cut to 4 inches by 8 inches. Now, some people actually take a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and just score it and cut it for this part. I did that for my box, and in my experience, the pages don't come out exactly right because you're cutting on the score line. So I think it's easier to go ahead and cut the 4 pieces and glue them together rather than use a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. But if you've seen that before and you want to try it, go for it. But like I said, I made that mistake, and I don't want you to do the same and realize that for some reason when you cut on the score line, it makes the box like 2 of the sides were 4 by 4 and the other ones were slightly smaller, and it was so annoying. So I'm going to do this one just like I did all the others. Oops, I almost put glue on the wrong side. That's what I get for chatting. So you almost went over that score line. You don't want to do that. It will mess you up if you go over it. Just adding the next one on top of the next one and then the next one. One more. Ooh, which way does it go? There we go. Okay. Alright, and there's our final box. So now you have all of your pieces and the boxes are going to sit in the middle of one another, like a little nesting box. Okay, so let's do the lid next. Now this is the part that I changed from reading this tutorial because I wanted my lid slightly larger. So I did mine at 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. So what you're going to do, let me save my glue here. It already wants to clog on me. So you're going to take your 8 1/8 by 8 1/8 page and you're going to score it on all four sides at 1 inch. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut. You see where my scissors are on that score line where this box is made on the edge of the paper? You're going to cut on that score line up to the next score line where the score lines meet and leave it like that. And then you're going to rotate your paper and do the same here. Rotate and cut. And rotate and cut. Okay? So now I have these flaps. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to fold on all of the straight score lines. I mean, they're all straight, but the long score lines, how about that? And then I'm going to fold on my little flaps like so. So here you can already see your lid starting to take shape. And then we're going to glue these flaps down to the opposite side. So I'm going to put glue right here. And I'm going to glue it down. Just make sure that the edges meet and they don't go over. Important in how your box fits together, that your edges just meet perfectly in your corner. And you're going to do this to all four sides. Forgive my huge shirt for getting in the way. It's my comfy shirt. Okay. I'm going to continue gluing down all the flaps, lining them up. And I just hold them down for just a minute. And the next one, or the last one. Oops, I'm getting glue everywhere. I'm going to zoom you in just one time. Well, maybe I shouldn't, because we're going to be working on the box. That's why I zoomed out. Never mind. Okay, here's our lid. Super simple, right? That's all it is. So I'm going to put my glue back on for a second, my lid. And we're going to get our box over here. And you can go ahead and test it out now. So fold up everything you got. Now it's going to be flimsy and hard to get on since, you know, you don't have anything on your box yet. But you can test it and it should work. So there you go. Now it's going to be, it's like you can see, you know, it's poking out the sides here. Once you get everything added, it'll lay more flat like it's supposed to. It's just because there's nothing on it yet. Okay? Good deal. Okay. Now we can set the lid aside and let's start working on the bottom layer first. So what I did on mine, let's see, this bottom layer, each one of these is going to have a large pocket. And that pocket is cut to 6.5 by 7 inches. And you're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And then on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch to make your pocket. And this is going to be the large pocket that goes at the top. Kind of like when you're making an album, it's like the base page pocket is what I would call it. Now I'm going to miter my corners, and what I mean by that is I'm just going to snip off this additional piece from the pocket that's not needed. So we do that because it removes bulk from the paper. You don't want bulky corners. Now, and also what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to go ahead and fold. And I apologize. You know what? I didn't even think about it, but I'm using black cardstock for this project. And I did that because I'm actually already have a paper that I want to use to decorate this with. But I didn't think about how hard it would be to see on the tutorial. So I've just folded these and I'm just going to test this against here to make sure it's good, and it is. Now when you put this on here, it's going to hang over here just a little bit. That's okay. Don't worry about it. If you want to trim it, you can, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put my notches in this, in all of these. So I'm going to take my envelope punch board, and I know that this, with the flaps folded in, is 6 inches. So I'm going to line it up at the 3-inch mark on my punch board, and I'm just going to give it a punch to give me that nice notch that I like to have. You don't have to do that. It's optional. And since I'm doing these with the score, I haven't folded these in yet, so I'm going to have to move it to line it up with the 3-inch score line. Does that make sense? The 1/2-inch score line, actually. Okay. So now I'm going to take these and I'm going to add them here. And I am actually going to glue down all 4 of these on camera, whereas some of this I'm only going to do mirror images to save time. And I'll show you what I mean when I get there. So I've added my notch. Now when you glue this down, just like in a mini album, when you're making an album, stay away from that score line. And to test it when you're gluing before the glue dries, just lift it up and make sure that the flap lifts up okay. And if it does, you're good. Now if you have some resistance when you lift it up, you've gone over that score line. So see right here how it's hanging over a bit? I don't know if you can really tell, but my other one did that too. I just left it. Now if you want to trim it, you can. That's up to you and how picky you are. I'll be doing, let me know how you like the explosion box and if you want different designs, because I am going to work on some other designs and I'm just kind of interested to see if there's actually an interest in seeing more tutorials after this one, like as far as, see, I have some resistance on this one. I went a little bit too far. So there we go. I moved it. I have some other designs in mind. So if y'all are interested in that, then I will do more tutorials on explosion boxes. I have kind of needed to do something different lately because I just felt like I got, I don't know, I guess I did. I got tired of making mini albums for a while and I needed some different inspiration. So when I searched YouTube, I found Arena, which I had been on a member of her channel for quite some time, and I've seen others make explosion boxes, but it just never really appealed to me until recently. I always thought other people's boxes were gorgeous, but I never really wanted to make one until now. Okay. Alright, one more to go. Thanks for hanging in there while I add all of these. Of course, if you're doing it at the same time, then that works too. Hopefully it gives you some time to get to where I'm at. This one I'll be using, I think that Tamara might have sent me some more of the Echo Park Animal Safari paper on accident. And so I am going to go ahead and do an explosion box with that paper. So I want to show you, see now that we've added those, just adding those pockets, when you add, this is the reason why I add those large pockets. Now when you add your lid, you see you don't have any gaps now. It keeps it all together just by adding that one layer on the base. So you can imagine when everything's added how much it just keeps it flat. Okay, now when I did my box, I did mirror images. So this side will be the same as this side will be the same as this side. So because of that, I'm only going to show you how to do this side, and then I'm going to do these two off camera. So I hope that makes sense. So on, maybe, we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to keep my video short. So we're going to start with the small pocket because it's the easiest thing to do. And I only made, oh, you're only supposed to need two. Never mind, because I'm only doing mirror images. I just said that, so sorry. Okay, so this, you're going to cut two of these to 3 1/4 by 7, and you're going to score on the 3 1/4 inch sided 1/2 inch, and then on the 7 inch sided 1/2 inch on each end. Miter your corners like before, and am I or am I not? Do I want to add I'm not going to add the notches here because I might want to do, if you add the notches, you can't do, you know, the trim. If you do trim at the top, you can't add it and it doesn't look right. So I'm going to leave the notches off of these pockets. Maybe I'll just go ahead and add both of these. And I'll only do the one waterfall with you, because the pockets are easy. So I'm just folding on all my score lines, and I'm going to add the first pocket down here at the bottom, and I'm going to line it up with the pocket I just added right here at the bottom. So I'm going to add my glue. I'm going to stick it down. When I'm done with this one, of course I'll do a video on it as well, so you can see it all decorated. Now I'm going to flip it to the opposite side. So see, here's this pocket, and now I'm going to do one here. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to work on these sides. And you know what we need to do? We need to put the waterfall together, because what you're going to do is you're going to put your pattern paper here, and you're going to put the waterfall on top of it. So I'm not going to have pattern paper to add, but I will run through the waterfall. So for the waterfall, you're going to cut 2 of these, because you're going to have 2 waterfalls, to 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. I'm only going to make one with you, so I'm going to set the other parts aside. And then you'll actually need 12 pieces cut to 2 3/4 by 3 1/4, and you're going to score on the 2 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. So for one waterfall, you're going to need 6 of these. I have them all stuck together. And the other one I am going to do separately. And then you'll also need one piece cut to 1 inch by 4 1/8, and you're going to score on the 4 1/8 of an inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch to give you a little gusset. So I'm going to put these aside, because I'm only going to make one with you. So I'm going to take my base, and actually I'm going to go ahead and add my closure first. So I'm going to go ahead and just fold on my score lines, and that, you will see, will give you a little gusset just like this. You see that gusset there? And I'm going to add my glue here on the inside, and then I'm going to stick it right in the middle on the right side. So this will close and keep my waterfall closed. And now I'm going to add my waterfall flaps. So I'm going to fold on these, and again, I feel really bad for using black because it's really hard to see this with black cardstock. I'm going to zoom in for this one because these pieces are so tiny. That's as far as I can go. I'm going to go ahead and just get all of these scored. Not scored, folded. And I'm going to add my glue to the first one. And then I'm going to put it on the very edge here. And now my magnet is going to be put right here and right there on this paper, and that is what will keep all this closed. And I put a large flower here because I felt like it gave the flap a little bit more sturdiness. Now to add the next flap, you're going to open this one up and put the next flap, line it right along that line where the last one was. So right there. And you're just going to keep on going and adding flaps. So I'll add the next one right up against this line right here. I know many of you have done waterfalls before, but lately I've had some new people on my channel, so I just want to make sure everyone knows exactly how to do this. And you just keep adding one right after the other until you get to the end. I love these teeny tiny photos. You know what I like to use them for? Is when me and my daughter are playing around with Snapchat. I like to print these teeny tiny photos off on my Sprocket printer. And this little waterfall is going to be super cute for that. Okay, last one. And mine is going just a little bit over the edge here. Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, and then you're going to add your closure here. And so that's your waterfall feature. Now you're going to take your base. When you get ready to add your pattern paper to this side, so you've got the 2 pockets here. When you add your pattern paper, then you're just going to glue it right there in the middle. Okay? Perfect. So you're going to make 2 of these and glue them on opposite sides. So there's that piece. And then that it means that the 6-inch box base is complete. Now it's time to move on to the 5-inch box. I will tell you what I did. I added all of my features and my pattern paper and everything to this before I started actually gluing the boxes down to the base. Okay? It made it so much easier. So I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of fold this up and add the lid on and set it aside. Okay. So now let's do the 5-inch. Maybe this one would be a little easier to see since I've zoomed in. I'll just keep you zoomed in. Let's start with the stacked pockets because those will be super easy, I think. So now this one will have features to do on the front as well as on the opposite side of each one. So for the stacked pockets, you're going to need to cut, how many? Did I already pass that on here? 8 pieces at 2.5 inches by 6 inches. You're going to score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 6-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And go ahead and miter all of your corners, which I am going to do now for all of these pockets. Now on these too, you could do the notches with your punch board if you want. I don't think I'm going to do that on these. Now you don't want to fold on all your score lines yet, and I will show you why. Okay. Take your first pocket, and this one seems thicker than the others. Is there more than one here? No. Score on or fold on your score lines, and all 3 of them actually this time. And I'm just going to measure it here. Perfect. I'm going to glue this one down. And what I did is I did 2 of the stacked pockets on the front and 2 on the opposite side of the flaps. Now glue this down. Now just like when we did the other pockets, make sure you leave a little bitty gap right here between the score line of the box and where the pocket sits, so when it folds up you don't have any resistance. Okay? Now in the next one you're only going to fold the side flaps, not the bottom one. And this one, you're going to stick it in here up to the score line and glue it down like that. So you're going to add glue right here and here. You're going to stick it inside this pocket we just glued down, like so. And there's your stacked pockets. Now I'm going to flip it this way and do one on the mirrored side. So again, all 3. And then just on the 2 for the next one. So then you're going to do the same thing on these flaps as well. So I like to flip it like this. So essentially it's upside down, and I'm going to put my pockets here. So 2, you're going to fold on 3 sides, add your glue to 3 sides, and again, stay away from the score lines. You should have a small little gap, and sometimes that's hard to see. So this is really the back of the 5-inch box. Fold, fold, and then add the other 2. Or 1, actually. Sticking it inside and gluing it down. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it again and do it. I have my pockets here. I'm going to do it on this side. Now for the acetate pockets, I already have some of them created, so that will go faster. But I am going to show you how to do the acetate next. Okay. Now, let's put this aside, and we're going to talk about the acetate pockets. So, that's the wrong one. Here we go. I already have my acetate cut here, and let's see, did I put down my measurements? This is cut to 3 3/4 by 4 1/2, and you're going to need 4 pieces. You're going to want to add your score tape, and I use 3/8 of an inch score tape to the top of the piece of the acetate you want to show. Okay, not to the back of it, to the part you want to show. So just like this. And then you're going to take the tape off, and you'll glue it down just like that. Okay. So I already have 3 of my pockets made, and I'm just going to go ahead. These pockets are cut to 4 3/4 by 6 inches. You're going to score on the 6-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then I will go through how to add your acetate and cut your frame and everything quickly. Okay. So now I've already drawn my little frame here. So what you want to do is make sure you get, I did a 3/4 of an inch border. So do 3/4 of an inch from the score line on 3 sides, and then there's not a score line up here because that's the opening of your pocket. Then you do, 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the paper there. And then you're going to take your craft knife and your cutting board, and you're just going to cut this out. You can use scissors if you don't have a craft knife. I sometimes I just punch a hole in the middle and then just cut out the sides if I need to, if I don't have my craft knife with me, but it's just easier if you do. And just punch that piece out. And we're done with this. Then you're going to go ahead and miter your corners just like you would in any pocket. And then we'll add our acetate. So I've already added my score tape here. And let's see if I can get this off with no nails, because I bite my nails. So I'm just going to take this off. Now make sure you do your lines and everything to where the raised part of the score line is. That's the back of the pocket. Okay. And then I'm just going to line it up. Make sure you don't have any tape hanging out the edge of the pocket. And I'm just going to really make sure that this tape sticks to the paper. Okay, and then I'm going to fold on all of my score lines. I love this acetate. I've told you several times before, I think, but I'll tell you again for the new ones. This is made by We Are Memory Keepers. This one we're going to add right here. And it's a pad of acetate that comes in different designs, and I get it from Amazon. And I loved using this. I used the black of the same print for my last album, the large one I did with the Animal Safari paper. But this time I decided I wanted gold. Okay, so you're just going to glue this down. Okay, and then you'll have on the back of this one, you already have your stacked pockets. So I'm going to flip this to this side, add the next one. And then when we're done with this one, we'll flip the whole thing over to the back and we'll add the other two pockets. And then the fifth box will be complete, except for all the pattern paper and decorations. So I'm going to flip this, and I'm just going to leave it this way and add it here. So there's my opening. So at the end of the video, I will talk about the booklets for these pockets and run through how to make those quickly, just in case anyone wants to do a booklet. But I'll save that for the end. And then I'm going to add this last one. I just love the way that looks, that gold. It's going to look really cute with that other paper, with the Animal Safari paper. Okay, here we go. Now the fifth box is done. So let's grab our 6-inch box and just put them all together like so. And now let's do the 4-inch box. Is really easy. It's only going to have the accordion pockets, and I've already created 3 of them. I'll just have to do the last one with you on camera. You will notice that your flaps will fold in while you're creating the box, but like I said, that'll get better. Okay, so for the 4-inch one, we're going to make these accordion fold pockets. So you're going to need to cut 4 pieces at 2.5 by 4 inches. You're going to score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch so that you have a little gusset. This will be the closure. And then you're going to need to do 4 pieces cut to 4 3/8 by 6 1/8. And for this one, on the, let's see, I have to read my measurements here. Score on the 4 3/8 of an inch side at 1/2 inch, and then at 5/8 of an inch, so you'll see there's a little gusset there. And then you're going to score on the 6 1/8 of an inch side at 3/8, 3/4, and 1 1/8. And then over here, you're going to score at 5, 5 3/8, and then 5 3/4. Okay? Now, to make these accordion fold boxes, these will all go here. I've already glued these together. You want to take your scissors and watch carefully where all these score lines meet. You're going to cut out this little box right here. So, is it easier to show you? Probably with this. So, this right here. So can you see where I've drawn? Not really. That really didn't help, did it? So here we go. We're going to cut up to the score lines right there, and then cut up to the score line there. So we're just going to cut that box out. And we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So this is what you get when you're done. Now, first I'm going to fold on the bottom score lines. So there's 2 score lines there, so you have a little gusseted box. And you're going to fold on both of those. Okay? Like so. And then I'm going to kind of lift that up. And then I'm going to do my accordion fold. So to do this, I'm going to fold away from myself first. And then I'm going to fold back toward myself this way. And then away from myself again. And then I'm going to kind of fold that down like that. And this is what you end up with. This accordion fold here. You're going to do the same on the other side. So away, toward, away. And then fold it. Now we're going to hold these. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little glue on each side here. You don't need a lot, just a little. We're going to hold these accordion folds down and push this bottom flap up. But make sure you keep this gusset here, okay? And just kind of pinch it on the sides until it sets. And then you'll end up with this accordion fold little pocket here. And then what we're going to do, it doesn't take long, we're going to add our glue here and glue it down. So let's do that now. Have these already made, and then we'll add the little flap closure. Okay. So I'm gonna add it, and the way this works, you kind of have to pull it out a little bit to get it. It's not exactly the same size as the box. It's going to be slightly shorter than the flap you're putting it on, and that's okay. Okay. So see how I have a little gap there? I don't know if you can tell. So I'm going to glue all these down. when you're gluing, you just have to make sure that that accordion fold goes out where it's supposed to. So I left a little gap right there that I was trying to show you. I don't know if it's showing on camera. Just so that when you fold up the box, everything folds in nicely. And I felt like that helped. Again, you want to make sure you're staying away from the bottom score line. Perfect. And then the last one, and then we'll add the flaps, and then, gee guys, we're almost done. I have a couple of booklets to talk to you about and to provide the measurements for. And then you can go have fun decorating your box. I hope that you guys show me what your boxes turn out like. I want to see them. If you have Facebook, come visit me at LM's Crafty Creations on Facebook and post a picture of your box to my page. I would love to see how your boxes turn out. Okay, so this is how this is going to fold up. So the corners on this box don't exactly have to meet up because it's the middle box, and it's just going to fold out anyway. So now we're going to take this closure piece, and I'm actually going to round all my corners on this one. So I like to do 2 at a time. That's the small rounder. I want the large one. Okay. And I'm just going to fold on my score lines. And I gave you a bit of a gusset, like that. And then I'm going to add the glue here. And I'm going to put this on this side of the flap. On the back side of the flap is how I'm going to attach it. And make sure you don't go over that first score line. Okay? And then you can use a magnet. I used, like I said, Velcro here, and it held it down really good, just because I wanted to do something different. But you could do a swing tab, you could do a magnet, just whatever you want to do. And so I'll just go ahead and do one more. On the back side of these, I didn't do anything. I kept that plain just because there was so much stuff going on the other 5-inch box that I didn't want anything on the back of here to interfere with that. So you have to be careful. If you think about designing one of these, you have to think about those kind of things. Okay, just right up to that score line. So I might as well just go ahead and do all of them, right? I'm already here. And I'm probably not going to have time to decorate this until tomorrow. So that way at least it'll be put together. So next we're going to talk about some photo mats for this. And that should go fairly quickly because my video is getting kind of long, isn't it? Just because there's so many flaps. And I wasn't going to go through and paste everything down like I did, but I just felt like it was too confusing if I didn't. Okay. Now, you know it would be cute to have acetate on here too, but alas, I digress. Okay, so now we're going to open our box and put this piece in. So it's going to go here. And in the middle of here is going to go this piece if you want to do it. This is cut to 3 inches by 12 inches. And you're going to score on the 12-inch side at 3, 6, and 9. And then you're going to accordion fold this piece. So you're going to fold it like, let's see, like this first. I guess it doesn't matter as long as it's accordion folded. You know what I mean by that, right? And then fold it back the other way, and then back the other way, just like that. So then it becomes an accordion. And then what I did is I put glue right here, put my pattern paper down here, and then glued it here so that it lifts up. And you have room for photos on both sides. And I let mine kind of hang out. Once you get these folds down, it will stay down more. And then once you glue it too, it'll stay down. So there is the explosion box. I hope y'all love it. Let's talk about photo mats. So for the 6-inch box, the large pocket, you're going to cut those to the booklets to 5.5 by 11, and it's the same for the smaller pockets as well. And so you really need 6 of those booklets. So cut 6 to 5.5 by 11 and score on the 11-inch side at 5.5. Okay, then you'll have, is this it? Yeah, these. And I rounded the corners on mine because I liked the way that looks. So I'll probably do it in the next album too, or maybe do a decorative one. So there's those. And then for the stacked pockets, I used the Graphic 45 tags, 4 of them. And then I also did the photo mats that were 4.25 by 4.25. I did 4 of those. And then the booklets for the acetate pocket, that's what I want to talk to you about finally at the end of the video. I created 4 of those. These were cut to 4.5 by 9, and you score on the 9-inch side at 4.5. And I made 4, as you can see, 1 for each pocket. And then what I did is I took another piece of paper, and I would suggest just taking cardstock and maybe a light color cardstock. So if you wanted to journal on this, then you could, versus putting a photo. That's what I did. And I'm going to go ahead and round these corners here because they're rounded here. This is cut to 4.25 by 8.5 and scored on the 8.5-inch side at 4.25. And so what I did is I added these 2 together. So this one's obviously slightly smaller than this, so it would make a booklet. And I put it in the middle. I took my paper piercer and I pierced a hole, and I didn't measure. I just kind of did one at the top-ish. My other paper piercer's better. There we go. And then one at the bottom. And I'm going to have to make these bigger. So there we go. There we go. And then what I did was I took my twine. That's where the twine comes in. I cut a length of it. And then I stuck one end through this hole. And then one end through the other hole, like this. And then I just tied it in a knot and then tied it in a bow. So that's all I did to make those booklets. They were super easy and turned out really cute, I think. And you don't have to tie it in a bow, but I just like to. So I just wanted to go through that, how to make those booklets really quick too. In case you've never done them before. And that's all it is. Just some twine holding together a couple of pieces of paper, just like a journal. And those went in my acetate pockets. That's it, I think. That's all I can think of. Hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, leave me a comment down below and I will try to get back with you. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Rena, for having an awesome idea and an awesome tutorial. She has a tutorial for this on her channel as well, but you know, I like to include um, everything in mine. So I will come back when I have this one completely decorated with the Echo Park Animal Safari paper and show you the end result. So I hope you love it. Thanks for watching. Bye.